has been much, much greater and much, much worse than one ever envisaged. So I hope the first part of your report reflects what they left behind, and that was, it was really terrible. And the second half hopefully is a bit more optimistic, but I accept that because the expectations were so high of people of Malaysia and of the NGOs and of the press, I am sure that the expectations have not been met and all of you are disappointed. And as a friend of human rights, I can assure you that at least as far as some of us are concerned, it is never enough. The strides that we have made are not enough, and I think we must carry on knocking on the door. So the advice I would give is that, first of all, I think NGOs like Suaram and Hakam and Bar Council, which is not really an NGO, all of you must engage with the stakeholders in a far greater manner. I think all of you have become complacent. Everybody has become complacent after May 10, and expecting just the government, or often expecting just me. Everybody does me and say, expect me to perform miracles. Like one can't do it oneself. So my call is for all of you to carry on the struggle and say, look, the journey has started, but there are a lot of battles to be overcome. And of course, the great difference you will meet today compared to yesterday is that you will have a ready audience. You don't have to have any fear. There is no climate of fear. Surely you will notice in the last 12 months that Malaysia is a much freer country. There is so much more space. You must at least acknowledge that. And we are probably one of the freest countries in Asia, if not the world. And I tell people that if you are as free as you are in London or Stockholm or wherever, make use of it. Because whatever the police may do, and of course I understand the police have been investigating a lot of alleged offences, dating offences under various acts, but there will be very few prosecutions, and because ultimately I make the decision, or people under me make the decision to prosecute. So certainly, if you look at the number of prosecutions in the last 1 year in the civil rights area, it's been very minimal. But investigations have taken place, and that is something that you all must talk to the police. So please go and engage permanently outside, park yourself outside the police departments and say, why are you not listening to us? Why are you not reforming? And likewise to all the other bodies, other agencies where if you think there is slow reform, for example, you don't need me to tell you that the Ministry of Home Affairs, KDN, is the most powerful insofar as civil liberties are concerned, because the police, the jails, prisons, and so many other departments, immigration, all come under the Home Minister and the civil servants. So please go and engage with them. Go there and park yourself and educate them. Because if you educate them, again, nothing is going to happen to you. So basically, there's a lot of hard work by all of you. All of you have to be involved in the struggle to enhance civil liberties. Insofar as the government is concerned, I think what you should do is the lack of political will. So let's take the Rome Statute and ISIT that Dr. Kwa mentioned. There are no legal impediments to either of them. And I just speak as a lawyer. My job is to advise the government on legal matters. So as far as I'm concerned, there are no legal impediments to Malaysia joining any of these organizations or ratifying any of these conventions. But it's a political decision. And it's a decision to be made by the cabinet. So what should you do? You should just go and nab them, catch them wherever they are, say, why are you not implementing your manifesto? And of course, I know that there's 4 more years, so one doesn't have to give up hope. There's 4 more years. Please catch our politicians. And of course, they were all in opposition just 13 months ago. I don't want to name names, but there are lawyers, there are Gobind Singh, Hula, they are lawyers. Now they are in government. Catch them and say, look, why are you not heading reform? Because all reform comes out of the cabinet. We talked about the bills. A lot of the bills, Emily, we are just given instructions. So for example, on the death penalty, there have been already 2 versions. of the death penalty, and that's because the cabinet decided as the political masters how to go forward. So we are waiting for the new direction. So you will have to, civil society will have to engage with the ministers and say, look, what is your position? And I think don't focus on the constitutional amendments, because after the MA 63 episode, there's not going to be any constitutional amendment exercise because they don't have a two-thirds vote, but they have a comfortable parliamentary majority. So please focus on the acts of parliament. There are any number of acts of parliament, any number of bills that can be done. Please go and see the ministers and the members of parliament and nag them, disturb them, trouble them. What I can assure you is that once they decide and they ask us to draft, my chambers will draft it very, very quickly, and so we will produce. But at the end of the day, I am a lawyer. I have to rely on my client. I'm no different from the members of the bar, while the private sector lawyers advise. Lawyers do not decide. But here, but I'm happy. You know the kind of advice I'll be giving. I'm happy to advise on civil liberties reform, but I need the stakeholders to be on the same page. So I would end by saying we must always be optimistic. The glass is half full. Don't look at it as being half empty. We've made strides, but absolutely not enough. And there's a lot of things to be done in the next 4 years, so that when the history is written of the Pakatan Harapan government after in 4 years, whatever failures they may have, at least you will say they had a good human rights track record. So that must be the objective. Thank you very much.
That all NGOs contributed to. Suaram contributed about detention, trial, etc. And then they turn around and say, no, we're not going to release this report. Not even the Institutional Reform Committee report. So, what is all about? Do we continue to take part in it when in the end we can't even see the results of our report?
So basically, are you urging them to release it, to publish the report?
Of course.
And then to reply to them also, I think we have published ours on our website for a while now. Some NGOs that have the capacity have also reviewed their report. But not all organizations can be as flexible. At Bar Council, they have internal processes, so I don't think they have released all the submission yet. So the IRC has received everything, so if they can publish it, then that will be the best.
I think there are ramifications of non-releasing report as well. For example, after the first 100 days and the CEP met and had a report, the Prime Minister went on to announce various things about privatization, about Proton 2.0, about the privatization of Khazanah, etc. Are we to understand that the people who were in the eminent persons council agreed to this policy? If we don't release the report, I would assume that all the members of the council, the eminent persons, were all contributing to this privatization policy. You know? And are we, NGOs, whatever policy comes out of the government, contributing to the Institutional Reform Committee report, whatever happens to the institutional reform?
有两个课题是我们看的是相当重要的，一个就是那个国际刑事法院，因为另外一个就是一个国际废除种族歧视的公约，这两个公约是很重要的，对我们来讲了。第一个两个课题就是被政府可以讲，这个还是首相了。也是歪曲了，讲这个是对我国的那些苏丹的不尊重对他们的那些地位有影响。我认为这个是不大正确了。我也提到那个 ICC， 就是这个国际刑事法院其实假如发生513。50年前有发生513，假如再发生513，最近2001年有发生Kampung Medan的事件，假如这些事件再发生有这个大屠杀，这些幕后的黑手，应该可以被对付，被这个国际刑事法院对付，这个是最重要的。